and he had no idea. He was just talking, and I'll never forget, he's just talking to the cops, and it's just bouncing here. That's the irony of it. I was trying to be careful. About 5 miles in, wasn't speeding. The only thing I did wrong was came into a corner, a big bend, a fun corner. At this point, I got it down. I'm just ready to go home. You know, right. I figured it out. I'm like, oh, this isn't that bad. And where I fucked up, this hill like this, and this is at dusk. Beam is so bright on the bike, the headlight goes here, and there's this pool of darkness here. So I go to accelerate. I see a deer. Like last second, and I lock up both brakes, but because of the weight, I indoed, and my last memory is I indo onto the deer's back. My mouth is in its fur. Like I remember its fur in my fucking mouth. That was my last memory. Yeah, and then I wake up about 20 yards from my bike in the ditch because Gary had got me off the street. No, I have no helmet on. I had a helmet on. He had taken it off like an idiot. Oh, I see. Completely rubbed my nose off, and I rubbed my chin off. Yeah. So I had blood all over my face. My windshield was broken. My whole helmet was like shaved down. It was like white on the front. I had slid on my face for so long. But he was walking around. That's what's so wild about this is he was just walking around on the phone with the ship. He didn't even call the police. When you read the transcripts, because they had to do an investigation of this, the transcripts are wild because we're in complete shock. And we're just like, hey, tell chief we can't make it. They're like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Call the police. Tell chief we can't, you know, it's just like over and over on repeat. Sure, yeah. Josh is hurt. Like we only thought I was hurt because my pants were gone. I have flesh hanging off my knees. All I could think about were my knees because I had broke my patellas and I had rocks in my flesh. Talk about pain, dude, because I was full of adrenaline there. My shoulder was completely destroyed, hanging down. I didn't even fucking notice it because my knees hurt so bad. Right. That's how wild it was. So I was visibly just destroyed. Just absolutely. I had road rash everywhere. My jacket's all ripped up. They didn't find us for about 3 hours because the service was really bad. We were losing phone service. So we're bleeding out. Situation, there's no light other than my bike that's completely destroyed on the street beaming across.
This is at like 9 o'clock at night?
This is probably at 8 and in the boonies though. And we're in between houses. You know, we're in an area, unfortunately, where it was like most of the houses were on this side, so people would come in this side of loop, and most of the houses were on this side, so people would come this way. You never had people coming through the whole loop. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So no one found us for 3 hours. And I remember laying in the ditch with Gary and just like accepting that something bad could happen. And we just were totally comfortable because the adrenaline was so high. And I only remember bits and pieces because I had just suffered a severe concussion, full of adrenaline. The cops show up, they shine the light on Gary, and basically the back of his fucking skull is hanging off. And he is completely soaked in blood. And what had happened was I didn't show him how to tie a helmet down. That's where I made a mistake, is because I grew up with it. So I knew through both, and then in the middle, pull it through, cinches it down. He didn't know that, he just put it on. And it came off midair and he landed on his head on the street at 45 miles an hour. And he had no idea. He was just talking, and I'll never forget, he's just talking to the cops and it's just bouncing here. And you can see his fucking brain. Like you could see it. And I remember standing there and I was like, I just was in disbelief. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. Every time I think about it, it's wild. And they immediately call for life flight because he had lost an insane amount. I mean, there's blood everywhere. We got in the ambulance together. And I don't really remember much as far as that. I remember hearing the helicopter, him getting picked up, and then me just kind of in and out of consciousness till we got there. And then I woke up, and the rest of it's really a blur. I was in the hospital for about 8 days. I just kept telling about my knees. I remember that. I was like, when does this stop? They're like, well, the bone bruising is actually what's causing it more than the fractures. And then I remember I had a bunch of people, all my Navy buddies showed up. It was awesome. I had so many people come and see me. It was the first time that I felt like supported, yeah. That's cool. Yeah, it was a lot of people there. A lot of Navy guys drove down to come and check on us because we were good dudes. Like Gary and I were really good sailors. We were well known, we're hard workers. So it was cool to see that support system come down. And I mean, it was double digits as far as people that took that 3.5 hour drive to come see us.